Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to our live edition of our Monday morning. Well, it's our live edition every Monday.
Yeah.
Right. Monday morning live edition, Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy, with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox from Doctors Nutrition, located on Cowan Road, just south of Pass Road. Our phone lines are 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Of course, this is Open Line Monday. Now, we do this every first Monday of the month, to where you can call in, ask questions about anything your heart's desires regarding your health, or how to live a better lifestyle, because that is what we're all about.
That's it.
Trying to live a better lifestyle. So again, if you have a question, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Lee is on the phone lines. You can talk to the doctors personally, or we'd be glad to just pass on a question to them. So I don't know, I kind of thought of something. This past weekend was Halloween.
Yeah.
All the candy.
Oh, yeah.
All the sugar. And how often have we preached on the detriments that sugar does to your body?
Yeah, and I saw a statistic. They said somewhere around $6.9 billion spent on candy and costumes, for this stuff. It's just like, wow.
And there was also some good research this week coming out about sugar in kids. I mean, you keep getting more and more things that are coming out, and research that's being done saying how detrimental it is and how it makes weight gain when they're young, and it's hard to get off when you get older. So there's a lot coming out about it. Eventually, I mean, people know sugar's not good, but I think they're going to find out more and more how bad it really is.
Yeah, and it's a shame, that, like I say, we start out with little kids, and we're seeing, children now below the 13-year-old marks, and below the teens, that are actually showing the signs of this metabolic syndrome that we've talked about. They're showing the signs of the insulin resistance. They're the weight gain especially around the middle. There are high triglycerides, high blood sugar, high A1C for their age. All these things, and Janine and I do another radio show, and on there we've talked about just wait 10, 20 years.
Well, it primes the body for diabetes.
Right.
Well, it does.
I think in 10 years, we're going to see a lot of the 20 and 30-year-olds being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
Because we're seeing the teenagers right now that are doing lab work showing all the signs for pre-diabetes. And so at young ages.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing it younger and younger and younger. And it is all, it's about sugar. I
It
mean,
is,
I had somebody just ask me, a friend of ours, I think yesterday, said, is diabetes, the type 2, really caused by your diet? And I said, yes. I mean, it really is. I mean, yes, you can be genetically predisposed.
Right.
You can have genetics makes it more likely for you to become diabetic, but what you eat is the biggest difference.
And I wrote down some things real quick this morning. I joke with them all the time, because the way that I write stuff down, I figured that I could end up being a doctor because of my penmanship. But makes organs fat. Mentioned primes your body for diabetes. It hammers your heart, for one thing. Creates tense blood vessels.
Yes.
Promotes cholesterol chaos.
Yes.
It turns you into a junkie, into a sugar junkie.
Well, it's addictive.
It's addictive.
It is
Yeah,
addictive.
it is.
You're right.
It increases your appetite, turns you into a ravenous eating animal, and it's bad for your face. And that's something that really got me too, because of what it does to the protein does to your collagen and all that in your body.
It increases wrinkle production. It can actually, in kids, it can increase acne. I mean, there's all kind of stuff it can do.
Well,
to
you
your
hear
skin.
that all the time. I eat candy, so it could be acne or something like that. So
Yeah, that's true.
Jerry in St. Martin's got a question for us this morning. Asks, a recent study shows fish oil may not be as good for the heart as originally thought. Do you still recommend fish oil, and why?
Yes, we do. And if you look at the study that came out, it's what they call a meta-analysis, which means we looked at a lot of different studies that had been done, and actually there's been quite a few big rebuttals by some pretty eminent scientists on that particular study, and they show that there was a lot of what we call cherry picking. For instance, in one study in particular that stands out, they took folks who were congestive heart failure, who are in-stage heart disease. They're in the hospital, they're in-stage heart disease, and we gave them some fish oil. And no, they didn't survive. See, their fish oil doesn't work. Okay, that's not a very good designed study, and it's not a very well thought out study, but that's the kind of data that they tended to cherry pick. Now, if you go back and look at the other data that they tended to gloss over, there's been literally thousands of studies done that were well designed, the placebos, control studies, the double-blind studies, and so on. And those studies show that yes, the fish oils do contain, the EPA, DHA, which are the two particular fats in those fish oils. They are very beneficial to the heart and brain, actually, and because the EPA, or the eicosapentaenoic acid, is an extremely good anti-inflammatory, and they show study after study after study in both mice and men has shown that the EPA downregulates that inflammation, and we know other studies have shown us that cardiovascular disease is primarily caused from inflammation in blood vessels.
Right.
So, yeah, we still recommend it highly. You just have to look at the data.
Yeah.
And that particular study was, like I say, they cherry-picked a lot of the data. They picked some studies that were very, very ill thought out. They really did.
A lot of the negative stuff that comes out about some of the supplements, you have to look at, what it was. Was it a study on its own, or most of the time it's meta-analysis, where they can go in and pick, they can take 3,000 studies and pick 5 of them that may not have shown a benefit, and they do a paper on those 5.
Right.
So you got to look at where it's coming from. And on fish oil, every week there is new research on the benefits of fish oil, not just for cardiovascular health, but a lot of it that's coming out is for brain function in kids and depression.
Well, 25% of your brain is made up of something called DHA, which is part of that fish oil. So it's an omega-3 fatty acid, docosahexaenoic acid. And DHA, like I say, 25% of your brain is made up of DHA. And like Janine said, there's been some very interesting studies recently about the combination, specifically about the fish oil and the vitamin D, and how well it is for the for the depression and just on and on and on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your
Appreciate
call.
it, Jerry.
896-0713, 800-349-0713. Those are our phone lines this morning, and this is Open Line Monday, which means basically you call us and ask us, questions about anything. Like you just called and asked the importance of fish oil.
Yeah.
Maybe something else on your mind. One of the great things that you definitely need to do is get blood work done. And see,
Exactly.
Maybe you have a deficiency in that area. Maybe not.
Actually, fish oil is one of the things that's FDA approved for treatment of high triglycerides. There's even a couple drugs that are made for that treatment, and our fish oil is the same strength as those prescription medications.
Right.
So for triglycerides, it's one of the best things you can do.
All right, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you this morning on Open Line Monday, and we'll be back in just a moment with our live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. Of course, they are open Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday, the doors are open from 10 to 5, Saturdays 11 to 2, and the doctors are there Monday through Thursday. Richard is on the line with us, has a question about parasites. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Morning.
Go right ahead.
My question is, what are the negative effects of parasites when you get a normal checkup at the doctor? At the doctors, do they test for them, and how do you cleanse your body of them?
Okay, good questions.
Okay, I think the first thing to answer, and it's kind of out of order, but are they checked for? Not a lot. That's something that's fairly rarely checked for nowadays. Years and years and years ago, medicine has kind of taken the idea that we're too clean, so our hygiene thing has kind of taken that away from us. But actually, we still see quite a bit of it.
Right.
I think the other question
the
was
parasites, like I said, with parasites, there are, of course, you can do a stool test and test for parasites. So there is a test for it, but it's not a routine test that is done.
Right.
Now, like I said, the stool test is probably the best test, but there's one thing that we see a lot of times in our routine lab work, something called eosinophils, which are types of white blood cells. And the white blood cells, when those types of white blood cells are very elevated. Now, a little elevation is usually allergies, but an extreme elevation usually does show parasites. So that is kind of screened routinely, but the stool test is not. We don't even routinely do it, but if somebody has the symptoms, we do it.
No.
Now, the question is, what are parasites? How are they bad for you?
Well, there's when you think about parasites, think about that. What is a parasite? It's something that's living off another organism. So in other words, it doesn't contribute anything to you, Richard. It simply takes your nutrients and for its survival. And you know, some of them are, yeah, not too bad. I mean, they don't really particularly get involved in taking too many of our nutrients or whatever. Some of them are very pathogenic, meaning that they can cause health problems. And you know, for instance, take something like malaria. Obviously, that's a parasite that, you know, Lyme disease. Okay, these are the very gross ones, if you will, the ones that do a lot of damage. But there's others that do a considerable amount of damage, you know, mildly maybe. You know, for instance, a lot of the anemias, a lot of those kind of things, a lot of damage to the organ.
It can make diarrhea. It can definitely, you know, have nutrient depletions. And people think of parasites as only being, you know, people think of worms when they think of parasites, and that is one of the big things. And
like a tapeworm.
Everybody has probably a little bit of parasites. I mean, we all have some, and that's normal. And there's even some that are considered to be completely non-harmful to have. But there's a lot that, especially even some of the ones that are known as to be benign, when you have an overgrowth of them, they can become a problem as well. Now, when you know, parasites, people think of intestinal problems, and yes, it can cause diarrhea, it can cause constipation, it can cause stomach and bloating and all those symptoms, but in some people, it's not always in the intestines. We have had a few instances over the years, especially after hurricanes, where it was in their lungs. I mean, we had a gentleman that when he sneezed, he had worms come out of his nose. Now, there's no question.
That's a vision I didn't need first thing on
Monday morning.
But it can get, now he had let it go for about 2 years. He didn't know what it was. So it was after Hurricane George, so it was a long time ago. So you see things, and he almost died from it. Now he didn't, because we were able to get rid of his parasites, but it took a long time in him. Usually a month or two, maybe 3 months the most, you can cleanse the body of parasites, but he took about a year, but then he was fine. Now you said, what do we do for it?
Yeah, well, okay.
That's actually, there's one that we have a product called Parashield, and it is your combination of the green black walnut hulls. It does have your, you know, wormwood. It has garlic and olive leaf extract, and podiar. I mean, it has a lot of different things.
Pretty much everything.
So it has all the stuff that's known for doing it, and we use it with something else called pyloricin, which has your cloves, which helps kill the eggs. Because you want to not just kill the parasites themselves, but any eggs they may lay as well. So there's definitely things, and it doesn't hurt. You know, if you think about it, we worm our dogs every month. I mean, but we don't worm people.
Nothing wrong with good worming for us, huh?
That's right.
It doesn't hurt to do a good worming, exactly.
And another part of this thing too, Richard, a lot of people ask us, well, where do I get these things? Okay, do you eat, you know, raw fruits and vegetables? There you go. You know, a lot of folks that eat salads and things, for instance, like that, if it's not washed properly, it's easy to pick up an egg, and you're never going to see with the naked eye, you know, an actual egg of this thing. And you ingest that, now you've got the egg, and if it doesn't pass through you before it hatches, so to speak, then you're infested. And so it's quite common. Now, again, you know, a lot of people that eat a lot of the foods, you know, for instance, a lot of garlic and so on in their foods, tends to help kind of keep them cleaned out. So, but they're always part of the ecology, if you will.
So eating raw garlic is actually a good thing to do.
It's a good thing to do.
You might not smell real good, but it's good to do occasionally.
Keeps your friends at a distance.
But it's great to cook with. I mean, that's
it really is.
I cook with it, you know, all the time.
But in the raw form, it's probably better for doing stuff like getting rid of parasites. So, you know, there are things in our diet, even oregano. You know, I mean, there's herbs that we use that are used to get rid of things. So they're good for you.
And we always talk about, you know, it's best if you get fresh vegetables. If you can get them at the farmer's market, that's even better for you. But again,
wash them very
wash
good.
Wash them
very good.
Wash them.
You know,
and then in raw meat, I mean, I just always say cook your meat.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like the sushi.
Including the fish.
You know, it's...
Including, I mean, so we do say cook meat. That does help a lot of the problems too.
I like cooked fish.
Yeah, well. Okay, thanks a lot for your call. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open. This is Open Line Monday. First Monday of every month, we open lines to field any questions that you may have, any health issues that you're dealing with that maybe you like to get some answers on. We could talk about all the time how important it is to get blood work done, because if you go to your doctor and you got a cold or something, they're going to do, and we've talked about this so many times, they're going to target what you got. But, you know, pretty much so.
Well, that's the medical model now, simply because of the insurance has done that. Insurance has kind of designed it to the point where it's not so much about what you're, if you've got more than one complaint, we're only going to look at one because the insurance
Well, you
says
just
we
have
got
to have
one thing,
diagnosis codes for every single thing that's checked,
yeah.
and that's just the way it's working nowadays. But I
Right.
mean, it's a good idea to do screenings, and that's what we do is screenings. We do broad screenings so you can see what's going on because sometimes you may not know. And a lot of times, like I had somebody the other day had a severe B12 deficiency, and I said it needs to be rechecked in a month, and they said, well, will my insurance do it? I said, go to your doctor, get it done through them. We don't care. Now there's a reason to do it. Now that you've showed it, now it can be rechecked and filed with your insurance because you do have a
valid
vitamin
reason.
B12 deficiency. So yeah, it's a valid reason.
All right, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. We'll be back with our final segment this morning of our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy. And welcome back to our final segment this morning, our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition. This is our open line Monday. We do this the first Monday of every month, taking your questions or comments. Kathy is on the line, has a comment for us this morning. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. I would like to thank the Foxes for the blood work and the screening they did on me years ago. You know your body better than anybody else, and I believe in prevention. And when I went to you, I did not feel right at all. I was very fatigued, and when you did the blood work on me, you really found, 2 or 3 things that were not right. But one red flag was my thyroid, and it did turn out to be cancer, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
For,
We appreciate that.
Showing me that was really off base and how important that was as a major gland in the body.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
yeah.
And I'm a survivor now, and it's
Good.
thanks to you.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Awesome.
that's you
That's
just made
one
our
thing,
day.
Yeah, we tell people that it is important to do the lab work, and when we do find things that need to go to other doctors, we send them there. We screen if it's something nutritional or something that you
Right.
can do something nutrition for, we do that. But a lot of times we do end up sending people to other doctors and people that we work with so that they can get further testing, because sometimes things point you into a direction that you didn't know was there. And that's one of the things that we like about the broad screening is because it kind of looks at all of it. And, sometimes things that are minor might be missed because they're not a major problem yet. But that's why we always say prevention.
But exactly, catch them at an early
Prevention.
stage
Oh,
so they
yeah.
don't become a major issue.
Well, let's hope, yeah.
Yep.
All right, Kathy,
Thank you,
thank you so
Kathy.
much
Thank
for
you.
your comment. That was really, really
That was
nice.
great.
896-0713, 800-349-0713. We have about 6 minutes left. Here's a question on the air. I'm pregnant with my 3rd child. How do you feel about home birth? I guess that includes a surrogate mother and all that.
No, that's
No,
not
No,
a
not
surrogate
surrogate
mother.
mother. I'm sorry, no. What is it?
Shows what he knows about birth.
Usually
Yeah.
a midwife, yeah.
Midwife. Thank you.
yeah,
That was
that's
what
it.
I'm thinking about. Midwife. Okay.
Well,
How do you feel about that?
Let's face it, if it wasn't something that could happen, we probably wouldn't be here as a species. We would have died many, many millions and years ago. So yeah, I mean it's
think
obvious,
if-
but they
we-
did lose a lot of
yeah,
people that. So for health, you definitely want a midwife and one that's well trained and one that has
And-
a good working relationship with an OB.
Yes.
So that if there is difficulty encountered, and even though it's your 3rd, things can crop up.
Right. So
And-
we always say that you definitely want to work with someone that has a working relationship with a doctor.
Right.
And also, like I said, if there's problems early in pregnancy, go get more done, because we've run
yeah.
into some people that have extreme hypertension toward the end, and they really need to be seen by an OBGYN. So,
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the call. Special for the week.
Yeah,
Yep.
special for this week. We actually got 3 things on
3
special.
specials.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's what these are. These are powdered versions, if you will, of various fruits, vegetables, and things like that that you would not get in a daily allotment.
Right.
Like, for instance, AO Reds, loaded with things that tend to be red. Obviously, that's where the name came from. But they're high in antioxidants.
That's what the
super
AO stands for, yeah.
Antioxidant red.
Okay.
And then the orange energy is things that are orange that tend to give you more energy, and it does have some of your CoQ10 in it.
Right.
And your detox greens. Now, greens can be taken for a lot of different reasons, not just detox, but we call ours detox greens because greens are known for detoxification. So we figured this week, with it being an open line, we'd have 3 products that pretty much anybody can take, and you can add them to your protein drinks. You can actually do them on their own.
Put
You
them
can
in a
mix
little
them
water,
with
mix
water.
it up.
They all
Yeah.
taste good. No, well, greens are good.
No, they taste
but they
pretty
do
good.
taste green.
Yeah,
I
no,
do
they
say they're really good for a green drink, but
I'll
some
put-
people would
I
argue
will
with
put
me.
our green drink up against
Any of them,
anybody's.
the way they
because
taste. But
I've tasted some in the past that were like,
Oh, yeah.
OMG, okay? And then but ours tastes pretty doggone good, really does.
okay,
Tanya.
Hey, good morning, Tanya. You got a question about sugar? We were talking about that earlier.
Yes, I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was calling because for the last 2 weeks I've been craving and eating lots of sugar products.
Okay.
And I was wondering, is my body lacking something because I've been eating so much sugar?
Well,
Normally you crave sugar when you shouldn't be eating it. Now we see a lot of diabetics crave sugar, so
Yeah.
you definitely want to get your blood sugar checked and your A1C. We
Yeah.
see people with underlying fungal problems crave sugar because the fungus itself feeds off of sugar, so it's craving it
Yeah.
to grow more. So usually sugar cravings are not necessarily that you need something. It's something.
Well,
It's
sugar can
usually
be
something that you don't
addicting.
need.
Well, sugar is very
and it's
addictive.
addictive.
Very
Once you
addictive.
start eating it, you want more and more and more of it. Yeah.
Actually, it's as addictive. They've actually shown this on PET scans, that sugar is as addictive. It lights up the same little areas of your brain as does heroin. So
Wow.
when you think about something that's as addictive as heroin, and this is sugar, and so you're responding. Your brain is responding to a drug, if you will. And yeah, something's not right. You really need to get that checked
And
out.
I always tell people that the thing is the best way to stop craving sugar is to stop eating it.
Yeah, you have to
because
stop
it takes
doing
about 2 weeks. Now the first 2 weeks are hard, but then
They're
after
tough.
that, if you're not eating it, you don't crave it as much.
And especially with all that Halloween candy left laying around your house.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of trick or treaters out this weekend because of the rain. So I think a lot of people ended up
still
with
got a lot of
leftover
candy
yeah.
around the house.
Did that answer your question, Tanya?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
See, we talked about that at the beginning of the show. how-
Yeah, and like I say, sugar keeps coming up. Just every time, we search the news all the time, in the medical news and a lot of the research papers coming out and so on. And it's just amazing how much research is coming out, negative research, on sugar and how detrimental it can be to health, what it does, how it does it. I mean, they're just studying this stuff to the nth degree, and it's pretty potent when you look at the addiction of it, and you look at the prevalence of it in a diet in
food.
America.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the low-fat diet has probably caused more problems in America than anything. And if you take the fat, fats taste good. So if you take fat out of something, you usually wind up with something that tastes, very similar to cardboard. So they have to put in sugar and salt. And sugar sells better than salt in most cases. So they do. They load things up with sugar. So you take a fat out of a food product, load it up with sugar. Now, and we also know about the addiction thing on it. So it's very addictive, and we can sell more. And that's kind of the thing with why the American diet's
And drinking sugar-free drinks.
Oh, no.
No, well,
it's-
artificial sweeteners are not
Just
much
as
better than
bad,
the sugar,
no.
so they have a lot of their own things that they cause and a lot of brain problems.
Right.
All right.
Sugar.
So again, you saw the specials that the doctors offered for this week. The doctors are in Monday through Thursday from 10 to 5.
Actually,
This week's different.
we're starting this week.
Okay.
Something new.
We are in Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We have hired another doctor, and he's there Wednesday and Friday.
Okay.
But
So
we
there's a
are
doctor
only
available
there
every day, right.
Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
But still, the great thing about it, I have people ask me about this all the time. Do I need an appointment or anything?
No.
No. No need for an appointment. No charge for a consultation. You go in there and just they'll be happy to help you out. So next week's topic.
Natural things you need to have in your medicine chest for flu and cold season.
Ooh, that
Yep.
is getting in the time for that.
It is.
It is that time.
Coming
Yes,
up.
it is that time for that. So thanks again for being with us this morning. Our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy. Be safe out there. The roads are kind of wet. And hope you have a wonderful week. We will see you next Monday.